Hey, my name is attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm with Disability Resolution PA. A question that I got the other day that I thought was ultra simple, but it kind of struck a chord with me because I kind of overlook it when I talk to people about disability usually, which is which program is better, SSI or SSDI? And the truth is that both have their benefits to them. Okay, so let's talk about SSI. SSI in Florida automatically gets Medicaid, which is amazing. That's, for somebody who has medical issues, that's a huge plus because that's usually worth more medically, going to the doctor, getting bills from the doctor and get sent over the Medicaid. That's usually worth more than the check that they get every month, which is that $733, which is the federal maximum benefit rate. So right off the bat, that's pretty awesome. SSDI is a little bit different. You've got to wait that 24 months from when you're found disabled. When you're actually your alleged onset date is found disabled, not when you're actually the judge says, hey, you're disabled, but when your alleged onset date stated that you were in fact disabled and the judge agreed, or the DDS rep. So you've got to wait 24 months in order to get Medicare for SSDI. So SSI, Medicaid, SSDI, Medicare, you got to wait a little bit, potentially, if you haven't already been waiting a very long time for SSDI in order to get your adjudication, in order to be found disabled, if you are found disabled. So right off the bat, SSI has the advantage of having SSI, boom, the moment you're found disabled, boom, you get Medicaid, which is pretty cool. Now, let's talk about, the financial aspect. The financial benefit side usually goes to SSDI because you have the potential of earning anywhere from $0 to $2,663. Okay, whereas SSI caps out at $733. But what a lot of people don't tell you in all these stupid little ads that you see online, like, you could be earning $2,600, by going on disability. There's always these stupid ads that I see that are so misleading, and they shouldn't be allowed, but frankly, at some point they won't be. But right now they're still allowed because nobody got around to legislating around that. But the bottom line is that when they tell you, hey, you could be getting $2,600 on SSDI for disability, just apply now, everything will be great. What they're not really telling you is that that's based upon the past 35-year work history, that which they do an averaging algorithm to see how much you've earned and paid into the system and earned with your quarters of coverage and all those details. And they're looking to see, okay, well, did this guy, earn a lot throughout the years, or did this person earn very little, paying potentially very little? So what they're really saying is, well, if you're a CEO or an owner of a company or something like that, and you made some really good money, then yeah, you could be getting $2,663. But if you're not, you're just the average American who's been working the grand majority of his life and working hard and doing his thing, guess what? You're going to be making $1,100 to $1,200. So are those little ads out there really misleading? They're super misleading. Should they not be allowed? They probably shouldn't be allowed, or at least there should be some little disclaimer at the bottom. You must have earned this much throughout your life over this many years through an averaging out. There should be some sort of disclaimer for it. Okay. So financially, SSDI usually wins. Medically, obviously, most people want to go into the Medicare ticket, but because it's auto SSI in Florida for Medicaid, I think SSI wins in that regard for most situations. Let's talk about restrictions. Okay. SSI, when it comes to restrictions, is definitely the loser. There's all these restrictions as to, well, how much money do you have in your bank account? Is it less than $2,000? Do you have less than a $1,500 life insurance policy? Do you, have more than one home? Do you have more than one car? All these things. So in that regard, SSI is basically a poverty analysis. It is a financial analysis check to see, how much money do you have? Because it is for poor people. It is for low-income or homeless individuals. So in that regard, SSDI does not have all these poverty restrictions. Instead, what they have is analysis as to your insured, date last insured, or your DFI and your DLI, date first insured, date last insured. Well, what do I mean by that? Imagine a line, okay? On that line, you have when you're born, when you die, somewhere in there you became insured, somewhere in there you were no longer paying into the system, you had a few years that went after, you stopped working, and then boom, you're no longer insured. That's your DLI. Date first insured, date last insured. This is the gray area. This is the striped area, the purple area, the whatever area that basically represents when you were insured. Okay, so you have to be insured and found disabled, or that you were severely disabled during that insured period in order to get onto SSDI, which is different than SSI's, are you poor? So SSI's are you poor, SSDI's were you insured when you were severely disabled, okay? So in that regard, I think, frankly, you would want to have the insurance system, and I think that SSDI program wins in that regard for the limitations category. So from those things, think about it. Are you an impoverished person? Are you low-income homeless? Things like that. Have you worked the great majority of your life? Have you earned a significant amount? Have you not earned much? Have you earned the average, what an average American would earn? Is it one of these things where, you basically, need medical insurance the moment you get found, disabled? Or is it a thing where you've been waiting 3.5 years to be found disabled and, boom, you're found disabled, boom, you automatically get Medicare and you're ready to go, So that's why I think it's so important for, when people say, well, what's better, SSI or SSDI? It's really, really, really fact specific as to your particular situation. How people are like, well, do I take my widow's benefits or do I take my own retirement? What do I do? It's very fact specific. So, contact an attorney in your local area, yada, 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 and kind of go through those ropes to figure out what would be the best thing for you, okay? I always say, no matter what, okay, apply for both SSDI and SSI. Unless you've clearly never worked in your entire life, obviously SSDI ain't gonna work for you then, but if you have, SSI, SSDI. If you're under 18, SSI, okay? You don't have to apply for both. But otherwise, SSDI, SSI, apply for both, okay? Let your attorney figure out for you what options are available, all right? My name is Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm with Disability Resolution PA, an Orlando, Orange County-based Social Security disability law firm. If you have a unique question or you want the most up-to-date information, that's fine. Give me a call or shoot me an email. We may customize, general topic, not like for your fact pattern, but general topic videos. So if you'd like a topic covered, that's fine. Send me, an email, shoot me, an email, give me a call, whatever. I'll go ahead and make it for you. And finally, at the end of the day, please don't put your fact pattern in the response area of YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, any of those. Just call me or shoot me an email with it. And obviously, and as I've said a million times, you don't need to be a client for me to help you out. Okay, I've helped out thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who basically just, bottom line, needed somebody to help them with one little thing. If that's the deal, that's fine. Give me a call. If you want me to do a full analysis, obviously retain me, and then you'll be one of the many, many, many claimants that I have that I work with. But I have begun to have a bit of a reputation for fixing other types of claims, whether it was a social worker or a non-legal rep, or even an attorney who worked on the claim and just didn't know what they were doing, or just, frankly came from one of these mega firms that they don't have time, they don't care, they just, throw them against the wall, whatever sticks, it is what it is. And I see a lot of those every single day, and I think the bottom line is, sometimes, I sit there and wonder, am I ethically allowed to say, that this type of firm does this, or this type of firms? At this point, I've done so many claims that I can point to 30 claims within the past 4 months where I saw them doing this, or I saw them improperly take care of something in this way, and based upon that, I think I now have the right, frankly, to speak, about these issues that they're putting forward and how they're not, bottom line, doing what they should be doing, which hurts the claimant, which this is always the problem, A, they're idiots for not, working the claim because they can make more money. B, they're fools because they're, hurting the client, the person who puts their trust in them. And finally, the client is, they don't know. When the lawyer talks to them, they use lingo, and they're, even when I talk to some other attorneys, I'm sitting there going, am I talking to a stockbroker that's trying to sell me something, or am I talking to somebody who's trying to get something done? Remember, when you talk to a lawyer, it's always about what are they trying to get done. Not, if they're trying to sell you off of something, then, you shouldn't hire them. And if they're trying to sell you off of something, then frankly, they're going to do that in front of the judge. And you don't want that. You're hiring them to sell you to the judge that you are the disabled person, that what you naturally claim you are and naturally are as a human being. So anyway, my name is Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I will catch you later. Orlando, disability law firm, Disability Resolution PA. You guys have fun, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.